book of Joel, and then when you get there, if you'll join me in standing. If for some reason you were to put something in Hosea last Sunday, you would just turn over one book and you'd be at Joel. Book of Joel. Give that man a sucker. Joel chapter 1, starting in verse 1. The Bible says the word of the Lord that came to Joel, son of Bethuel. Hear this, ye old men, and give ear, all ye inhabitants of the land. Hath this been your days, or even the days of your fathers? Tell your children of it, and let your children tell their children, and their children another generation. Father, we thank you today and for you blessings, Lord. Have your way this morning. Open our hearts and our minds to your word. Give us clarity of thought. Open the ears and the hearts. Prepare the way. May you be glorified this morning and all said and done. In your precious holy name we pray. Amen. As I was reading the book of Joel, I was struck by three things. One thing as such, that Joel in the book of Joel, he looks as such in three different directions. He starts off looking to the past, and then he looks to his present, and then he looks to the future. And with that said, there's a thought that immediately follows what I read this morning. He talks here about if you remember the day that you should tell your children, and the children should tell their children, and it should go on. There are some things that we should remember. I'm struck by the thought, as I was looking at this, that next Sunday, November 11th, is the 100th anniversary of the end of the war to end all wars. You know, that really happened that long ago. But it's 100 years. I believe the day at one time, the first initially was called Armistice Day, I believe. If I got my mind right, it was called Armistice Day. That's the day that Armistice was signed, and that was called Armistice Day. And we celebrate that day to remember, in part, to remember those who had died, but also to remember how we got here, and that we should never get here again. After World War II, I think it was changed to Remembrance Day. I believe that's right. And then later, it was changed to Veterans Day to incorporate the remembering all those that died in all the wars that had gone on. But having said that, and then thinking about the time frame around World War I, I also thought about the fact that shortly thereafter, and the dates in my mind are not completely, are kind of fuzzy this morning, but I can't remember the date given for the beginning of the Great Depression, but I want to say they said it ended in 42. It was a long time. It was a lot longer than I realized in looking back to the dates. But you know, we should remember those dates. And we should let people know what happened. During that time, during the midst of the Great Depression, there was a little short period called the Dust Bowl, 36 and 37. And you know what? There's some things that we should never forget. By the way, our schools don't always feel the same way. You'll find a lot of things are not taught in school anymore that used to be taught. A lot of history getting thrown out the window. Benjamin Franklin made a comment one time, I'm pretty sure it was him, who said, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. That's what Joel was trying to tell them. You don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. Look at what he says in verse 4. After saying what he did in verse 2 and 3, he comes back to verse 4 and says, that which the palmerworm hath left, hath the locust eaten. And that which the locust hath left, hath the cankerworm eaten. And that which the cankerworm hath left, the caterpillar eaten. You know there's a time when a great army of locusts, and by the way, I'm told in looking at things that in the Hebrew that those are 4 different kinds of locusts that are mentioned here. By the way, there's apparently 8 different kinds of locusts. But, didn't know that either. But, that this army of locusts at one time has come to the land and have shook everything bare. And what one didn't get, another one did. And Joel says, we need to remember that. There are events in our history we need to remember. We need to remember what the locusts did. Let me read you a few more verses. In verse 5, he tells us, and there's several things here. I'm going to read several verses. He says, first of all, awake. Awake, ye drunkards, and weep and howl, all ye drunkards or drinkers of wine, because of the new wine. By the way, there is no new wine because it's been eaten. For it is cut off from your mouth. For a nation, and he's referring to the locust, a nation has come up upon my land strong and with my outnumber, whose teeth are the teeth of a lion, and hath the cheek teeth of a great lion. He hath laid my vine waste, barked my fig tree. He hath made it clean bare and cast it away. The branches thereof are made white. You know a fig tree won't last without the bark. And the locusts have come through and shook the nation of all its life. Joel says we need to awake. And then in verse 8 he says we need to lament. Lament like the virgin girded with sackcloth for the husband of her youth. The meat offering and the drink offering is cut off from the house of the Lord. The priests, the Lord's ministers mourn. The field is wasted. The land mourneth, for the corn is wasted. The new wine is dried up. The oil languished. We need to awake and we need to lament, cry, if you will, for the lost. And in verse 11, he says, be ye ashamed, O ye husbandmen. Howl, O ye vine dressers, for the wheat, for the barley, because the harvest of the field is perished. The vine is dried up, the fig tree languisheth, the pomegranate tree, the palm tree also, the apple tree, even all the trees of the field are withered, because joy is withered away from the sons of men. Joel says, there's this time that happened in the past where all this army came through and destroyed the land, and we need to listen. It was necessary that one awake. It's necessary that one lament, that one be ashamed. It didn't stop there. He says in verse 15, but 13, excuse me. It's funny, numbers look funny when you don't have your glasses on. 13. Gird yourselves and lament, ye priests. Howl, ye ministers of the altar. Come, lie all night in sackcloth, ye ministers of my God. The meat offering, the drink offering is withholden from the house of our Lord, or our God. Verse 14, sanctify ye a feast, or a fast. Call a solemn assembly. Gather the elders and all the inhabitants of the land to the house of the Lord, your God, and cry unto the Lord. You see what's going on? A devastation has come to the land of Israel. The land has been stripped of all its nutrients, all its sustenance, all its supply. And Joel says, it's a necessity then, come to the Lord. Call a fast. Call a gathering. And everybody come, the elders and the people come together. Pray. Verse 15. He says, alas, for the day of the Lord is at hand, and as a destruction from the Almighty shall it come. You need to understand something. The day of the Lord is always representative of judgment. And if you haven't caught it until now, understand that what Joel is telling the people of Israel is this destruction came upon Israel because of Israel's sin. And now what was necessary was Israel to repent, cry out to God in repentance. That's Joel looking back. Chapter 2, verse 1, Joel writes, blow ye the trumpet in Zion. Sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. The day the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains a great people and a strong, there shall not be ever the like. Neither shall be any more after it, even in the years of my generation. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the garment of Eden, Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run, like the noise of chariots, and the tops of mountains shall they leap. Like the noise of a flame of fire, they devour the stubble. The strong people set in battle array. Before their face, the people shall be much pain. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like the men of war. They shall march, every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the walls. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun, the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withhold their shining. The Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his count is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible. Who can abide it? If you understand what's just been shown, is that Joel said, here they come again. Remember the last time God is sending judgment to Israel, he says. Here they come again. I got a mighty army. They'll cover the land. They will blacken the sun. We will not be able to, they'll be everywhere. They'll crawl into the, they'll just devour everything. Here they come again. Here they come again. It comes to verse 12. I'm going to read through verse 14 here. Therefore also now saith the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning. And rend your heart, and not your garments, and turn to the Lord your God. For he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil, who knoweth if he will return, repent, and leave a blessing behind him, giving a meat offering and a drink offering unto the Lord your God. He says, listen, we need to repent. We need to come, listen, we need to come back to the Lord. They're coming again. And rather than us turning to him after the fact, let's turn to him now. Instead of us waiting, let's do it now. And maybe as we repent, that God instead of leaving us nothing, will leave us a blessing. And instead of us leaving us a judgment, maybe he'll bless us instead. What Joel says. So he says in verse 15, blow the trumpet in Zion. Blow the trumpet, they're coming, but blow the trumpet again, that we might sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly, gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, and those that suck the breast, and the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. Let the priests and the ministers of the Lord weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, spare thy people, O Lord, and give not thine heritage to reproach. The heathen should rule over them. Wherefore shall they say among the people, where is their God? Do you understand? As Joel says here, let's turn to God. Blow the trumpet, or come again, blow the trumpet. Let's turn to God. Let's seek his face. Verse 18, Bible says here, then will the Lord be jealous for his land and pity his people. Understand something. What is being revealed here in part is revealing the nature of God. And what Joel writes is, if the people will repent, then God will. Then will the Lord be jealous of his land and pity his people. He'll be compassionate. Verse 19, yet the Lord will answer and say unto his people, behold, I will send corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith, and I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. He will send that blessing. Verse 20, but I will remove far off from you the northern army, and I will drive him out of the land, barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, and his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. God will remove that judgment, he says. That's what God will do. So you have Joel looking back. You have Joel looking at what is present. Then you see Joel looking forward. Some of this will sound familiar. Here in chapter 2 and verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, for your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. On the day of Pentecost, Peter stands up and says, as the prophet Joel prophesied, that's what's happening today. He quoted these verses. We know when this started. Joel was far removed from this day. But you know what? The beginning of this, we can look back on it. We're no longer where Joel was, looking forward into what he didn't understand. Verse 30. I will show wonders in heaven, in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes. Today, Peter made mention that this is what Joel was thinking about, and all through this time we see the Holy Spirit being poured out on those who accept Christ as their personal Savior. But he reminds us the day of the Lord is coming. Joel said, listen, remember the judgment that came. Remember the judgment we're dealing with now. But one day there's judgment coming. There's judgment coming. Verse 32. It shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. New Testament. Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord hath said, and in that remnant whom the Lord shall call. Something about that word whosoever I've always loved. It shall come to pass that whosoever. Isn't that what Joel has told them over and over again? Remember back in the day, they turned and they repented and they sought God's face. So then also now he says that we need to repent and seek God's face. In that day, whosoever shall repent and seek his face shall be delivered. There's one other thing that I want you to see. In chapter 3, he deals with the end time, if you will. And he says, and let me read a chunk of it here. For behold, in those days, and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Now understand that we had preachers years ago preaching that one day Israel would come back into the land. And then, in the year of 1948, there suddenly popped up a nation in the Middle East. We again called Israel. And many would quote this verse and say, see, I told you so. Verse 2, and I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. They have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, and they have that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre, Sidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense, or if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense with your own head? Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried it into your temples, my goodly pleasant things. Children also of Judah, the children of Jerusalem, have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them up, raise them out of the place where ye have sold them, and will return their recompense into your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, also of Judah, the children of Jerusalem, have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them up, raise them out of the place where ye have sold them, and will return their recompense into your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off. The Lord hath spoken it. There is a judgment, a recompense that will come. And then it comes in verse 9, call to war. Proclaim ye this among the Grecians, the Gentiles, prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of their war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye the sickle, the harvest is ripe. Get you down, the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. I want you to draw your mind through time and past where we are. I want you to think in terms of what you have read in the book of Revelation. I want you to think for a moment about that battle of Armageddon. For one day, the Bible speaks in the book of Revelation, Christ, all the nations of the world will come, gather around to wage war against Christ. Verse 14, multitudes in the valley of decision. The day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem. And the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people, the strength of the children of Israel. So shall ye know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her any more. Judgment is coming. A final judgment is coming. A total judgment is coming. And the day of decision, the valley decision, I'll be honest with you, is best made prior to this. The decision. The songwriter asked, who is on the Lord's side? Answer here and now. I can't leave you there. I can't leave you in the valley of decision. Look at verse 20. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation